All right, in this video, we're going to look at solving equations using the distributive property. So I'm still drawing my line down that equal sign to separate my two sides. So the distributive property is when we have a number being multiplied with quantities inside some parentheses. So I know this is multiplication here because there's no addition sign in between the number and the parenthesis. There's no subtraction sign. So this means multiplication here. So I'm going to distribute the multiplication of 2 to everything inside of the parentheses. So I have to do 2 times 5x, which makes 10x, and 2 times 3, which makes 6, and that plus sign just kind of carries down. And I can bring down my negative 14 on the other side. So now I just have a simple 2-step. So I would cancel my 6 first by subtracting. That gives me negative 20 on this side. And then I have a 1-step. This is multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by 10 to find that x is equal to negative 2. Okay, so here's our first problem I'm going to have you do. So this is your problem, and I've already set up my check because remember, I want everything to be the exact same. The only thing I'm going to be filling in is this x here. So I just didn't put my x in because whatever I figure out that I think x is, that's what I'm going to check in on the other side. So pause and try it first, and then play to see how you did. So I have to distribute the multiplication of negative 7. So that makes negative 14x. Okay, and then I like to change my subtraction here. So keep change, change, so that I'm multiplying negative 7 and a negative 4 to get a positive 28. And since I changed that to addition, I'm going to have addition there. Now realize if you didn't change it to subtraction, you're just going to have, or if you didn't change it to addition, you're going to have subtract a negative, which then you're still going to end up changing to plusing a positive. Okay, so finish solving from here. I'm going to cancel that 28, which gives me negative 70. That cancels, a negative 14x. Last step is to divide by negative 14. I get x is equal to 5. So to check that, I'm going to plug 5 in for x. Now notice there's nothing for me to calculate on this side, so that just comes down. When I'm checking, I'm not doing things to both sides. So really, if I had a calculator, you could just plug all of that in, and you should get negative 42, so feel free to do that. But if I'm kind of doing it by hand, this makes 10, kind of following order of operations here. Then that makes 6, so when I multiply, I get negative 42, so my answer does work. Okay. So 2 more on this page for you to try, so pause, write down these problems, and check your answers. Right, so first one, distributing that 7 to both terms, I get 42x minus 21 is equal to 63. Then I need to cancel my 21. So I bring down my 42x is equal to 84. Divide both sides by 42. X is equal to 2. Okay, so that's the number we're going to plug in to check there. So like I said, 63 is going to come down. Nothing for me to do on that side. 6 times 2 is 12. Subtract 3 makes 9. 6 times 9 is 63. So we have the right answer here. So like I said, on a test, I'm not going to make you check every problem, but it's a good idea because then you know you have the right answer. So this next one was maybe a little bit tricky. So I have to distribute here before I can add. So if you added 6 plus 4 first, you actually did it wrong. So I would maybe pause and fix that before continuing. So the 6 just kind of hangs out and then we're going to distribute. So this becomes an 8x minus 20 equals 18. Okay, you could also have this as a plus a negative 20. That's fine too. So then notice now I have like terms to combine. So we just said this is a negative 20 and a positive 6. Okay, so that's going to make a negative 14. So if you want to write plus a negative, that's fine. This is just how I like to write my problems. So either way, when I go to cancel it, whether you have it written as a negative or subtraction, you add 14 to both sides. I get 32. So when I divide, I get x equals 4. Okay, and I'm not going to take the time to check this one, but you should. So next side, we're going to do 5 more practice problems. Okay, so I'm going to let you try the first 2. So pause the video and give those a try. So negative times a negative gives me positive t. Okay, again, I view this as being a negative because I did my keep, change, change already. So this makes it a plus 6. So then to cancel, I need to subtract 6 on both sides, which gives me a negative 12. So when I divide, t is equal to negative 1. Okay, and I've kind of already filled in the checking steps there so you can see what that looks like. And so this next one, distribute your negative 8, becomes negative 32x plus 40. Okay, that's positive there because I have 2 negatives being multiplied together. So when I subtract 40 from both sides, negative 32x is equal to 66. Divide by negative 32. X equals negative 2. And again, I can plug that negative 2 in for x, and then that gives me 104. So I know I've got the right answer. So this next one in our video, I wanted to just mention something first before I have you try it on your own. So I have parentheses, so I know I should distribute first, but what am I distributing? Okay, I'm not distributing your 16. Remember, there's always a 1 here. So because this is subtract, okay, I can keep, change, change to see that this is a negative 1 that you need to distribute. So now that I've kind of given you that hint, you can pause and try this problem on your own, and then play to see your answer. So my 16 comes down, and negative 1 times 3 is a negative 3. Negative 1 times a negative 2 is a positive 2. And then I still have my 21. Now again, if you like to write plus a negative, that's fine. I just like using subtraction. So then I have like terms to combine. Those are both positives. That makes 18 minus 3x equals 21. Okay, and maybe you had these 2 terms switched around, which is fine. Like if you combine them and put them over here, just your negative should still be on your 3, okay, because we have a positive 18. So to cancel that, I'm going to subtract. And I have a negative 3x equals 3. So when I divide, I get x equals negative 1. I wrote a little big on that one. And then we can check our answer there. Good. So 2 more. I'm going to give them both to you and let you pause and try. And then play to check your answers. So again, I'm distributing a negative 1 here. So that becomes a negative 5x and a positive 2. Okay, your x's are your like terms this time. So 3 subtract 5 makes a negative 2x. Now it's just a 2-step, subtract 2, negative 2x is 8. So when I divide, I get x equals negative 4. Okay, and then we can check that answer. So when you're checking it, realize you have 2 x spots to plug it in for. So you have to plug it into both of them and then do the math. Okay, so I got a negative 1 also to distribute, so that becomes a negative 2x and a negative 3. So here's my like terms. I'll combine them over here this time just so you can see. So my negative 2x I'm going to bring down. 4 minus 3 is a positive 1. So now I'm just solving my 2-step. Subtract 1 gives me negative 10. Divide is going to give you a positive 5. Okay, so plug that in for x to check. Okay, the longer these problems get, the easier it is to mess up like one negative sign. So I really encourage you to check your answers. It doesn't take that long, but it will help you find your mistakes. So if it ever doesn't work here, like maybe I got a positive 9 and I should have gotten a negative 9, I messed something up over here. Okay, it happens. I still do it. So just do a quick check when you do a problem.